told me, and it's funny because I say this now to other people, he said mirrors make you stronger. And at the time I thought it was just, kind of like an arrogant meathead thing to say. I mean, this is the guy who wanted us to get mohawks. He said it really inspire us in the gym. If you think about it, mirrors do make you stronger. One, your form's going to be better. You're going to know if you're cheating. And two, you're actually going to see your progress. And I'll be honest, there are those days where you're training, it's starting to hurt, and you're in front of the mirror, you're not really looking at it, you're zoning out, you got Megadeth blaring in your headphones, and you kind of catch your reflection, you're shaking, and you got that one more rep you think's in you, and you look at yourself and you say, yo, that's me. That's the result of my hard work. And you know what? Instead of 1, you eck out 3. I mean, as long as you don't hurt yourself, that's a good thing. Adapt. If your nutrition's right, your body will adapt. I mean, you look at Olympic athletes, training 2-3 times a day, 6 days a week. These guys aren't overtraining. These guys are continually improving. Why? Body adapts, nutrition's spot on, the recovery, the sleep, everything is spot on. And they're obviously not training for 4 hours at a clip. People just seem to take that whole, overtraining thing too far. Now, is there such thing as overtraining? Yeah, I guess there is. Some people will have limited recovery abilities. Can most people overtrain? No. It usually means your diet is pretty bad. Some kid tells me, oh, I can't train longer than an hour. Dude, there's probably something else there. There's nothing magic that happens in an hour. If you start talking about cortisol going too high, you know what? An hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half hour, that 30 minutes of cortisol is not going to really eat too much muscle. Just like undereating for a day is not going to lose any noticeable muscle. People take little ideas and go way too far with them. A little personal information here. I've got an itty belly button. But as I get really, really lean, I guess as you kind of dip under that 10, 9%, I don't even know. You can kind of feel the ring around my belly button sticking out, kind of like the end of a balloon. That's how we know I'm getting close to contest shape, when I get the creepy belly button thing going on. No real secret to calf training. It's boring, hurts. People usually want to bail out after 3 sets. I think that's why most people don't do calves. Because I certainly didn't have good calves. Well, 5 years ago, but it's very easy for someone to look at someone with good calves and just assume, oh, it's genetic. It's a load of crap. If you don't have good calves, it just means you have to figure out how to get them to grow. Always find it interesting. You read articles, people talk about pointing your toes in, pointing your toes out. You gotta find that it's not a matter of fact, you're pointing your toes that really determines where your calf grows. It's where you can come up on the, on your foot where the pressure is. If you roll onto the outside of your foot, or if you roll, take the stress on the ball of the foot, that's really what's going to determine what part of the calf is. I'm not gonna say all of, but more of the stress. I don't really worry about toes in and toes out. I pretty much just try to plant my feet how it's comfortable. I remember Dorian Yates saying that, one, his calves were easy to grow, so he's the last person to ask about calf development. But another thing was, he said that despite what you read in the magazines about him, he never worried about toes in, toes out. He just let the muscle take the stress wherever it was comfortable, and the muscle gets big enough, you don't really worry about the shape it has. Most of that's genetic anyway. I feel like I get more out of a set if I stretch first. I know you read a lot about the myostatic reflex, stretch muscle contracts, recruiting more muscle fibers, things like that support incline dumbbell curls, for example. Or when I train hamstrings, I like to do stiff leg deadlifts before leg lifts. I feel I get more out of it. As far as stretching in between, I don't want to stretch so much that I'm actually weaker during the set. I know a lot of recent studies say that stretching before an exercise will actually weaken you. But I just want to stretch enough that I'm not tight when I attack the weight. I try to do this very controlled. When I actually do the reps, I try to get a good stretch. I try to get a hard squeeze. I keep my knees probably as close to straight as is comfortable. I used to really just lock my knees into place, really trying to isolate the gastrocnemius, which comes into play more when your knees are straight. Sometimes it's just a little uncomfortable. You know, especially when you get to the heavy weight, you need that slight bend in the knee just to take some of the pressure off. So maybe it's just me. I like to cycle my carbs. I find that by really dipping the carbs, the calories low every third day, it gives me a lot more leeway with as far as how many calories I can take on a normal day. Still being a deficit, but really not suffering, you know? When I tell people, you know, an average day for me is still 2,800 calories, I'm still getting 250 grams of carbs. You know, they start quoting me, oh, but you had to drop your carbs, or so-and-so says this, and so-and-so. You know what? I don't want to hear it. Everyone's an expert in theory. Everyone's an expert online. Very few people actually can walk the walk. You get shredded, you keep your muscle, then you can tell me what to do. You know? Yes, some people do drop their carbs, but some people are more, I guess, insulin sensitive. Bottom line is, I think in most cases you're going to need carbs because carbs are protein sparing, you know? Learning how to intelligently keep carbs in my diet is what's enabled me to get bigger in confident shape every year. And, you know, that's what most people don't understand. Lifting the weight's not complicated, it's not rocket science. Nutrition, that's where people mess everything up.